As Facebook ads expert, we spend almost 8 hours regularly staring at this screen. We take hundreds of decisions regularly after analyzing thousands of data points. Most of these decisions are redundant, which definitely makes us feel like we are doing grunt work. But what if I told you that there is a way to get things automated, and that too without using any paid tool? The tools that are provided by Facebook itself. Yeah, I'm talking about automated rules provided by Facebook. These rules empower you to delegate menial tasks that induce decision fatigue and make you feel worthless. You can automate a variety of actions depending on a lot of conditions. I often use these in the account of my clients, and doing so cuts short my time invested in these accounts on a regular basis. And in this video, I'm going to share the top 6 rules that I use in order to automatically either keep my account stable and in shape, or scale up my accounts profitably at a pace. And out of these 6, last one is the most important one, because trust me, this one has saved millions of dollars for my clients. I'm not kidding, like not at all. Also, there is one disclaimer that I would like to give you about using these rules, and that is the budget of your overall ad account fluctuates a lot if you are using these rules. So if your client's goal is to be profitable at every cost and is not bothered by you hitting the daily spend targets, then I'll definitely go ahead and ask you to use these rules for your campaigns. Now that I have got this thing out of the way, let's jump on to our first rule, and that is to scale up campaigns. Select the campaign you want to apply this rule to. Okay, so one more thing over here. Don't go to the automated rule page and then create rules, because then you won't be able to apply the rules to a specific campaign or ad set or ads. By creating rules from this dashboard itself, you will be able to specifically create rules for one specific campaign, like as I am doing it right now in front of you on the screen. And now coming back to the topic of scaling campaigns. Now, first of all, let me tell you what scaling up campaign actually means in the simplest way possible. If I have a B2B client, then I am given some targets in terms of cost per lead. And when I have an e-commerce client, I get targets in the form of revenue, which I translate to ROAS, or cost per acquisition using formulas. I know I said to select the campaigns you want to apply the rule to, but here in this point, I want to apply this particular rule to all the active campaigns. If a campaign is giving me better or desired results, then I would like to scale that campaign, and I do so by increasing 10% budget every day of that same campaign, which is giving me desired results. So in this field, you mentioned the maximum amount that a campaign which is managed by a rule can reach. The lifetime impression of the campaign has to be more than 8,000. Basically, it needs to have a certain amount of learning associated before rules start scaling it up. So that is why 8,000 impressions. Next thing is the main metrics, or my North Star. Here, if I get the cost per result below the desired amount in the last 7 days, then I'll like to scale up. Also, here it is important to specify the time range on which Facebook is supposed to look back, else the rule will pick up the default time range which is set over here. So for every condition you mention, you can give a separate time range. Then the next condition tells Facebook that out of the active ads, do this only to the one that has following phrase inside their campaign name. And that's why, kids, you need to have a perfect naming convention. I want to scale up only my BOFU campaigns, and I can do so by what I just did right now, and that is by mentioning the phrase that every and only my BOFU campaigns will have. That brings us to our next rule, which is to scale down the culprits. This one, as the name suggests, is just the opposite of the last one. Obviously, every campaign can't be in its best shape all the time. And if we have a campaign that has stopped performing, then we need to scale it down so that we reach a sweet spot where it still makes sense to let the campaign run uninterrupted. So I decrease the budget of the bottom of the funnel campaigns by 10%, and you can see the rest of the details as well. It is very simple to set up, and that's why I'll move on to the next rule, which is to pause the underperforming ads. We all know that Facebook is notoriously famous for spending all the money on just one ad. Well, I'm fine if Facebook is doing so, but what I'm not fine with is Facebook not letting the other ads take up the budget when the main ad has hit the ad fatigue and stopped performing. That's why I go for this rule. But this is only helpful for e-commerce stores, which are passing conversion value with their events, as the cost per result option is not available over here. Through this rule, I want to shut all the non-performing ads inside the BOFU campaigns that haven't met a certain criteria in the last 7 days. It will run every half an hour and pause all the ads that didn't meet that particular criteria. I don't want to run an ad for even an hour that doesn't meet this particular criteria. With that, let's move on to our next rule, and that is to pause underperforming campaigns. After shutting off all the ads that don't work, one needs to pause the whole campaign, as it seems like the campaign's ads, like all the ads, have hit the ad fatigue, and now is the time to retire the whole campaign for a while. You can do so for both B2B as well as B2C, and this is how I set it up. Pause for a while and see what conditions I have set and replicate the same inside your rule. Now let's move on to the fifth rule, which is pause time-based campaign. A lot of times we run a sale that ends midnight or at a certain point of time, and when you are handling 20 plus clients, it becomes technically impossible for anyone to keep a track of when to pause what. And this is where rule comes to the rescue. You can just pick a campaign or put the campaign name over here and exactly when do you want to pause it. The only challenge is that you can't select a date, but inside this custom schedule, you can select the day. I guess this is also a great relief. Put the rule when it is the final week of running that particular sale or campaign and be tension free. Now let's hop on to our last and the most important rule, and that is avoid overspending. I literally know how much my client can spend in a day, and that's why I know how much can a campaign can spend in a day. Therefore, I always create a rule which shuts down any campaign that has spent more than the threshold value. With all these rules and automations, sometimes you can miss a minute detail and the account can overspend. And there is no way Facebook will return the money. Therefore, it makes sense to have this rule always enabled inside your ads. Underspending is not an issue. Overspending is. Also, let this run continuously. What this means is after every half an hour, Facebook will check if any campaign meets this particular condition and will immediately pause it. Also, you can go to this particular screen and preview if any of the campaign will be affected by any of the rules. Well, that was all for the video. If you want to learn all the advanced Facebook ad techniques, then you can watch this particular masterclass. Or if you want to really up your game, then you can buy this book. The link to the same or both of them is in the description. And if you have just started out, then here is a free course for you on YouTube, completely free. Go ahead, check it out. Until next time, bye-bye.